So what we have here is a 4.0 player, one of my clients, and we're looking at his backhand. There are two things that in my mind are connected to one another. So if we can fix one, we hopefully will immediately target the second. So the one thing to start with is that Donnie on the left here, obviously Novak Djokovic on the right, has a pretty high take back. Whereas that in itself, I don't really see as an issue. Right, you see that here the take back is almost head high, whereas Novak's, the highest point on his take back here is, I want to say, about shoulder high. You can't quite see that from this perspective. Whereas I think that is not necessarily an issue. It does become an issue if you can't get under the ball. And you see that here, the swing pass from all the way being coiled back here. The difference there is also that Donnie doesn't get the tip of the racket any further back than here to the side, whereas Novak's is almost crossing the plane, or actually indeed is crossing the plane. So you're losing some energy that you could store there if you're not turning quite enough. So the issue is that you're just not getting enough under the ball. So you see that here beautifully on the right with Novak's swing. It's all the way up here, but then he gets under the ball. His racket head is lower than the ball. And then he swings up to make contact. Whereas on the left here with Donnie, if I'm going back, at swing and at contact point, his racket head was really never under the ball. So you're getting a more tighter take back and it's a little flatter. So it's really difficult to create more topspin. And to my mind, that slows your swing down a little bit, because if you're hitting flatly at it, it's a lot more difficult to control. The one key thing that I do want to work on with Donnie is, and I'm quoting Dr. Mark Kovac there, is in the loading and the cocking phase. So one of the key points that Dr. Mark Kovac talks about is in the racket preparation. You see that here, that Novak's butt cap is pointing to the ball. And when we go back here to Donnie's preparation, his butt cap, as he's prepping, is pointing somewhere down to the right. So that is one major issue. You don't have that, really that lag of your left wrist. And I think that is one thing that will change if we get the take back a little lower, a little bit more of a loop, and laying that left wrist back a little bit. So that is one of the things that I would like to work on with Donnie here. The second, I think, and that is also coming a little bit before he's actually hitting, there should be a deeper and heavier load of your back leg. So if you want to look at that here with Novak, and this is just regular hitting for these guys. I mean, he's not even putting that much energy into it, but you clearly see that he's got almost all his weight right back here on his back foot. And then he's releasing that energy, stepping up and into the ball. So at contact point, now you see the left foot is off the ground and all his energy moves forward and through. And that is, I think, something that we can exaggerate a little bit more with Donnie here. He does have load off his back foot, but it's not quite as distinct. The ball's almost there, and it looks like he's about evenly weighted on his feet. Neither one is really down on the ground, and I think that is a big one that we can work with. And again, here, there's some lift here, and it's perfectly fine to have the left foot, of course, lift off the ground, and then also the hip coming around. But I think that's something that we can work on a little bit more deliberately, to have that shift of your body weight coming into the ball to add a little bit more pace, and to my mind, even more importantly, a little bit more control, because I always place more emphasis on control over power. If we can't control the ball, it doesn't matter how hard we hit it. We're making too many errors.